So this is a Donald Trump post. It says FAFO. And this is the Korean news, and they have to try to explain what does that mean. It's as dumb as it sounds, as much of the stuff that Trump says is dumb. What's interesting about this particular post, though, is that the photo was taken at Gimhae Airport here in Korea. And so then people online were debating, is Trump trying to send Korea a message or not? And people, seriously, that's what people are talking about. However, I think it's just a stock photo, and I doubt the White House or Trump has any sort of like detailed nuance on the photos that they pick. I want to show you how it's very, very different here in Korea, where President Lee is actually meeting President Xi of China, and they show a couple clips here. Just watch, and what you're going to see is first, Xi gives President Lee a phone at APAC, a Xiaomi phone, and then later Lee's going to use the phone to take selfies. True story. You have to watch it for yourself, and just listen.
曲面是韩国的产品，这个曲面是韩国的产品。
디스플레이는 한국 제품입니다.
샤오미.
这是给您和夫人。
통신보안은 잘 됩니까?
这个通信保安怎么样啊？
非常好。
你这看看有没有后门。
뒷문 있는 거 확인해.
And he's making a joke. This President Lee is making a joke like, did you check the back door? And I think she's like, I checked it myself. You're going to be okay. And it was actually a security joke. And the thing was so fascinating about this is you usually don't see President Xi of China look like just like a regular person. He usually comes across a kind of gangster or no expression. And this is something that people have been talking about here in Korea. How, let's be frank, guys, like President Lee of Korea has like just been a mastermind of getting, how can I say, like, getting people to like him, getting people to like Korea. It's been really brilliant. Watch some more. You're going to see the selfie stuff. So basically, President Lee is like, hey, Xi, will you come take a selfie with me? And he's like, okay, I'll do it. And like, you usually don't see this stuff. These are like world leaders, right? And so that's been our discussion. The funny thing too, and these would be normally critics of Lee, supposed to be like a little bit more conservative channel. They're even saying, wow, this is actually pretty good. Because frankly, you know, when you send out your leader to other countries, you don't want to be like, hey, we're going to bomb you, we're going to destroy you. You have to be part of our hemisphere or whatever, as Trump does every day. And guys, I know it's a lot of stress. I have to watch this stuff too.
Mr. President, the President of the People's Republic of China.
Good to meet you.
Great pleasure to see you again.
Good to see you again.
很高兴再次见到你。Me too.
And we're going to have a very successful meeting, I have no doubt.
我肯定我们今天会有非常成功的会议。
But he's a very tough negotiator. That's not good.
但是他是很强硬的谈判者哦，这不好。
We know each other well.
我们相互之间非常了解。Mr. President, do you plan to sign a trade deal today?
Could be.
有可能。
I think we'll have a great understanding.
但是我们会达成很好的
We
理
have a
解。
great relationship. We've always had a great relationship.
我们之间的关系很好，关系总是很好。
我们之间的关系。
那问他是不是还在为美国的大众？
And then so for me, I saw this. My wife showed this to me yesterday. I'm like, what the heck is this? And if you don't know the significance of this stuff, so one is you just don't see that. There's a selfie right there. You usually just don't see this kind of relationship between world leaders. And you know, the thing is with Xi, he always has like a really stern attitude, right? So you don't know much about him. Like, what's he thinking? What's he saying? But in these regards, like you hear his voice, he's saying, hey, you're really good at taking pictures. Lee that can say, hey, your phone is really good. And the reason why the Xiaomi is an important piece is because it's actually parts in the phone. The Xiaomi is a Chinese phone. Parts in the phone, though, are actually from Korea. So it's a joint business operation. So, you know, he is celebrating basically with Xi, hey, we have a partnership. You put out this product together, and let's continue that cooperation. Now, the thing is also, which is important to point out, is that, during these kind of negotiations and things, usually things are really serious. You're on the table, and actually I can find you a picture of yeah. Everyone keeps talking about the social media thing because it's so funny. And then Lee then posted it on social media because it's actually unusual for Koreans. But as I was saying before, usually they're around the table and everything's so serious, right? But, President Lee's been able to try to be in a right word to say it, in a situation to where, hey, everyone's going to try to like us. And frankly, if you're a president or a diplomat or anything, in that nature, you don't want to make enemies with countries. You want to make as many friends as possible to sell your products. I mean, Korea's in the business of, promoting K-pop, Samsung, LG, our technology, promoting our tourism, university exchange, like any number of things. And what they were showing you guys here, let me just show you, is these are then the gifts that each countries have exchanged. So we've been talking about that. I think the Koreans sent China, was like some sort of painting or mural thing, I don't know how you want to call it. It was like with the giraffe and a tiger. And I think the China then sent Korea, and this exchange was like some sort of like a music song of a popular singer, but they did it wrapped up in a really nice way. And then it was funny too because the the announcers were joking about how, in China, a lot of people are watching Korean shows, movies, buying Korean products, etc. And China actually officially had banned certain kind of things. So, people are getting in illegally. So this would actually be a contentious issue. But, this is something that Lee going to China has been trying to open up, basically. Let's have full business cooperation and open up, both each other's markets. The contentious stuff has been actually Japan and China have been sort of, if you want to say, trading barbs or things like that on the Taiwan issue, which certainly could be a major issue going forward, right? So this is normally how you would, do these state visits where it's all serious. You got the military around and stuff like that, right? That's normally how. So this is why it's so unusual to see like these dudes taking selfies with each other. And I'm happy to see it to bring down the tension. So my opinion, and I've seen these guys together quite a lot after APEC. They might actually like each other because that's been the debate in our news is like, are these calculated, public appearances? Is this planned, or is this presently like sort of impromptu, trying to get Xi to do the selfie, or did Xi pre-agree? Who knows? No one really knows that kind of stuff. But I don't think Xi's going to do it if he didn't like him, and because remember, Trump always likes to walk around and say that President Xi is Trump's best friend and everyone likes Trump. Well, here's the thing: is Trump taking selfies and like making jokes and getting people to smile, and like, do you actually see Xi show his human side? So that's normally how this stuff is, right? You guys know this. One side talks to the table, the other side talks to the table, and such. I also want to show you and this is also then the first ladies that we're meeting as well, developing relationships. Usually don't see Xi's wife that often. So again, this is a big win for Korea, and it's hard to explain. I understand in USA it just feels like things are either stagnant or going backwards, or you feel like you're going back to 1930s kind of situation. I'm just telling you, I know I do the news with you guys all the time. Here in Korea, it's just not like that. I keep telling you, like, we're at record, for tourism boom. Now we're opening up, China to make sure all of our products can get there fine. Also, the amount of foreign residents coming in has been also at records, because sometimes people ask, because people do, the MAGA people say, oh, Chris, what about immigration, blah, blah. No, actually, the country is opening up here in Korea because we need the workers, right, for various industries and various, establishments. They're also talking about panda diplomacy. I know for you guys in the USA, you're like, why are pandas important or whatever. It's just anytime you can trade with other countries and like develop positive relationships, this is what the regular people will end up talking about, right? So that's what they're saying is like, because it's a democracy here in Korea. So like if people go to the zoo and it's like, oh, okay, we have a business partnership with China, and China sends us pandas, and people have like kind of a positive, thing, like, oh, maybe I want to go to China someday and do tourism there to go visit the pandas. No, seriously, and it's like it was actually pretty big news for us, to where like the health of the panda and stuff like that. They would do it all the time because people like pandas. I like pandas, pretty cool. We actually went to go see it. It's in Seoul, so they call that panda diplomacy. To give you some also contrast, here in our news, when they talk about Trump and Venezuela, they always show the oil. it's like that. This is like the beginning of the news story. Here's Trump. He's going after the oil in Venezuela. Like they don't hide it. They make it like really, really obvious. So I don't know if it's like that in the American news in USA, if because I don't watch like 24/7 American stuff, but they basically just show Trump. He tweets out crazy stuff. He says crazy stuff, and then they just talk about oil. That's our news. So it's never like, oh yeah, he's gonna bring them freedom. It's like that. We're not that stupid, right? I think only maybe the Americans are, a bit mean here, but maybe only the MAGA people are that dumb to think that Trump cares about anyone else other than himself and the oil. And so, the big contrast here for us again is just like, while Trump is off, making enemies and stuff like that, presently is making friends and taking selfies and making jokes. So whether or not this stuff was planned ahead of time to get Xi to do it, who knows? The way that it come across to me, he's like, hey, would it be okay if I take a selfie? Okay, I'll do it. And then he pulls out his phone and takes a selfie. And everyone seems to be having a good time. The translators are smiling. So just take it as a grain of salt that maybe President Lee had this plan, because he brought the phone with him. So President Lee's plan to do this and then got Xi to go along with it. And that's how I read that. And I think these people generally like each other. And then the wise want to get in the picture. Yes, it's true that things can be politically calculated and stuff like that, but I don't know. It looked pretty spontaneous to me. And I'd like to get your read on that. Do you think that's something that was, planned, or does it look like these people are just taking selfies and he got him to do it? So, and they're shaking hands, and like I said, I think they generally like each other. And she usually doesn't act like this. And the other thing they mentioned too is like these kind of activities work really, really well, because then she can still, how can I say it, maintain a good image. So for example, one newscaster was saying like, if you take Xi to a restaurant and like eat him Korean food, then everything's going to be all messy and you don't really want to take pictures there, and you can't like, drink together in these kind of ways. You guys understand what I'm saying? So, trying to figure out ways to where, how can I appear friendly with Xi and then also look good for the cameras that doesn't disrespect him in any way. So that's what's going on. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on the situation, and I'll catch you on the next video.